Greetings from the Presson Foundation. My name is Webster Twambo Jr., the chairperson of Presson Foundation. Wherever you're joining us from around the world, thank you so much for joining us, and please do let us know. Please do let us know wherever you're watching us from, and remember to invite your friends. Make use of the comment section, interact with us, ask questions, share this broadcast, tag your friends, like it, and please do let us know that you're getting us loud and clear. You can also follow us on YouTube as well as LinkedIn. So we will be happy to connect with you as we strive to make this planet a better place than we found it. So today's discussion, or rather the topic of discussion today, is financial planning. Financial planning through insurance. That is our topic today, financial planning through insurance. So please do let us know that you're getting us loud and clear. Wherever you're joining us from, we will be happy to hear that you are following us live on this program. So I'll just try to give you an overview of today's discussion. So financial planning can be defined as a process of developing a personal roadmap for one's financial well-being. So personal finance is a process of planning and managing personal financial activities, which include income generation, spending, saving, investing, and protection. This process of managing one's personal finances can be summed up in a budget or financial plan. In our discussion today, we will focus on savings, investing, and protection as financial planning. So the activity of saving is the process of setting aside funds for future use. It can take different forms, such as physical cash, a savings bank account, a checking bank account, money markets, or money market securities, or insurance policies. So managing savings is a critical area of personal finance. On the other hand, investing relates to the purchase of assets that are expected to generate a return or simply a profit at the end of the period. So examples include stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, private companies, commodities, and so on and so forth. So the personal protection side refers to a wide range of products that can be used to guard against unforeseen and adverse events. For example, life insurance, and so forth. So solutions through insurance companies tend to think and protection. However, these solutions are prone to economic effects such as inflation, interest rates, etc. So then the question is, how do insurers address all these issues to ensure that personal financial goals are achieved? To address these questions today, we have a panel of distinguished professionals joining us from different companies in the industry. So we have the managing director of Prudential Zambia, Mr. Krishnaswamy Rajagopal. I hope I got that right. Welcome, Mr. Swamy. It's good to have you. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be on this show today with you, Webster.
Thank you so much. Then secondly, we have the managing director of Zisk Life, Miss Christabel Banda. Welcome, Madam Banda. I can't hear you. Are you on mute or?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show once again, Webster, and continue. Well done for being consistent I think we are learning quite a lot from your shows. Thank you.
Thank you. So, all right. And lastly, but not the least, we have the acting Chief Executive Officer of Sanlam Life Zambia, Godfrey Tenesi. Is it Tenesi or Tennis? Anyway, welcome, Godfrey.
Whichever, Webster. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and a good welcome to our viewers and listeners. I think it's a good time to share and learn.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. So now we've got rich experience from our panel today, and maybe we'll start from looking at the importance of financial planning. So maybe let's get started by just addressing what the importance of financial planning is. Why is it important to start with setting financial goals before saving or investing? Mr. Swami.
Thank you, Webster. Financial planning is something I think which we all got to adopt to, whether in our personal life or whether it is part of our professional entity wherever we are. If you look at financial planning, there are many facets to it. It comes by way of first and foremost managing your cash flow. How do we manage your cash flow? It also encompasses savings and investments, and probably we will talk more about savings and investments as we move on. Which many people do not take into consideration these days, and is very critical, at least in many parts of the world, is tax planning. I think we need to look at tax when it comes to our financial planning. How can we take advantage of some of the taxation benefits that we get through our various taxation laws that come out? We also need to make sure that what are our needs, immediate needs, and what are our future needs, and we got to plan for it. That's where the savings and the investment part of it comes. Maybe lastly, you also need to look at two parts. One is retirement planning. What do you do once you retire? Your income stops. The day you retire from an income of X, you go to zero. So how do you manage thereafter? What happens to your standard of living? How do you go after thereafter? So which actually takes you to the retirement planning. And then finally, just as we came into this being, we got to leave this being, and you have accumulated some assets over a period of time. You got to do your estate planning also. So all these things, in my view, encompasses have the many facets of the financial planning.
All right, I love the way you've just began the conversation. Godfrey. Oh no, let me go to Christabel. What's your take on this?
It's important. I think Mr. Swami has put it rightly. It is important, both in our personal lives, in our business, to make sure that we plan for our finances. If you don't plan, obviously the alternative is that you are planning to fail. So it's more important actually in our financial lives to make sure that we set our goals. What is it that we want to see? Is it financial independence we are looking at? Are we looking at ensuring that our kids, when it's time to go to school, the money is there for them to go to school? Or is it just, can even be, if you look at the short-term goals, you can even be looking at just planning to make sure that your current resources are enough to be able to meet your day-to-day obligations. So you need to have a plan, obviously. You will not be able to succeed if you don't have a financial plan. So I think it's very important that one needs to have a financial plan. Was I on mute?
I think Webster is mute.
Yeah, but you are very clear, Christabel.
I think Webster is on mute.
Okay.
The beauty of virtual.
Yeah, Godfrey. I just love the way Madam Banda just explained. And Godfrey, would you like to come in as well?
Yeah, thanks so much. I think Swami has done justice to the topic, and Christabel, you just brought the clarity. I think to me, I think it's more of one critical thing, just to add up to what my colleagues have said. I think it's all to do with goals. And there's always a misconception that financial planning is for people with money, or for the rich, or for the educated. But what we've just learned, which I'm also supporting what my colleagues have said, is that as long as one has got financial some goals, and you need to achieve those goals financially, then you have to plan. And that's all what financial planning is all about. So whether you're rich or poor or what, as long as you've got goals, financial planning is critical.
Financial planning is critical indeed, and I just love the way you've brought out the issues around financial planning. Now, in the financial planning process, of course, there are short-term as well as long-term goals. So how do insurance companies, come into the equation of this financial planning, and how do you distinguish short-term and long-term goals? And what is it important to have both? From the insurance point of view. Swami?
Thanks, Webster, once again. You rightly put it. I think even Godfrey spoke about how you need to have your goals set clearly as part of your financial planning. The goals are generally short-term and long-term. To answer your question very precisely, short-term goals would, to start with, I think one thing which we need to be clear about is you need to provide for the unexpected in the short term. The unexpected could be an emergency fund that you need to create, some kind of a sinking fund which can take care of any emergency that arises. The house where you stay is a rented place. The landlord demands rent every 6 months. You got to provide for that. That's a short-term goal. You may have the possibility of a credit card with you, which you have used over the last few days. You need to make sure that you pay the credit card bill on time. Otherwise, the bank is going to charge you a bomb towards the interest and late fee, etc. You may want to acquire some personal goods. You may want to change your 36-inch TV into a 55-inch TV, or your fridge may have got spoiled. You want to replace that. And don't forget that Madam Christabel Banda has a kitchen where she wants constant improvements over it. You got to plan for that. Then there are, of course, the other ones, like you want to have a travel, you want to take a break, you want to travel. There's a wedding in the short term. You need to take care of that. There are people who would be in their own houses. There would be repairs coming up for the houses you want to take care of. So these are all some of the short-term provisions that you need to make, the school fees, etc. The short-term school fees. Then the long term. Long term is something that is I wouldn't call it savings. I would rather call it investments. I would like to differentiate short term as saving and long term as investments. This is where I think we need to do a huge amount of planning and setting aside a very methodical way of saving to make sure that we make provision, as we mentioned earlier, for example, for retirement. You want to buy a house, you need to pay the mortgage for it. And then you may want to send your children for a higher education overseas. You need to fund for that right now, else you will not have. A mortgage loan is a continuous payment. Retirement also is something where you need money month on month. Education, you may not need month on month, but you probably need every 4 months to pay for the term fees. So you got to look at the short-term part of it, which are immediate needs, which could be unplanned, and some of them could be planned. Long-term, mostly would be planned expenses, which you would anticipate and you got to provide for. So I'd probably sort of differentiate between the short-term and long-term by way of savings and investments.
All right. So as I bring in maybe Madam Banda to add on to what Mr. Swami has talked about, do you think our savings culture, or how do you rate our savings culture? Are we so now oriented in terms of short-termism? How far do we go into the future, or we are too consumption oriented? How do you rate our culture, and how do you add on to what Mr. Swami has shared?
Has said. Okay, no, thank you so much. I think there's something that is quite interesting that Godfrey mentioned, that when you talk about savings or when you talk about financial planning, it doesn't mean that you have a lot of money when you are talking about financial planning. Financial planning encompasses everybody. Everyone is supposed to have a financial plan. And Mr. Swami rightfully talked about the short term, the medium term, and the long term goals. So when you're talking about a financial plan, you have to start from where you are. So there is really no excuse for any one of us not to have some sort of financial plan, because you have to start from where you are. You look at your current circumstances, and then you can then decide, set your goals in terms of what you want to achieve. And I think we've listened to the different types of goals. You want to immediately sort out your debt, for example. You immediately want to come up with a plan of how you're going to meet your rental. So all those are some of the needs that you have to look at. So when you look at savings, really, yes, it's very difficult to save, and I think that is where some of the products, the investment products that we offer in insurance, really also help, because it's very difficult for somebody to set aside money and leave it in a bank where they can go back and withdraw. But when you get an insurance policy, for example, to assist you with your savings, you find that because of the contractual nature of the policy, you are forced to set aside money to save, to be able to meet your different goals that you've set for yourself. So really, in terms of insurance, I think you had spoken about how insurance comes in when it's in terms of trying to achieve our different financial objectives. And yes, savings culture, I think it's improving, really. I think it's improving. I'm sure my colleagues will attest to the fact that we have seen some improvement in the consumption of the different savings products on the markets. And you can only attribute that to people becoming more aware of the need to plan, the need to focus into the future, and the need also, because now the financial literacy levels are quite are improving. So people now are aware that they need to set aside something for the future to be able to meet their obligations, and that is where insurance companies also come in to help in terms of achieving those financial goals.
Awesome. So our savings culture is improving. I like that. Godfrey?
Yeah, thanks. I think it's a good question, Webster.
Yes, I can say yes.
Yeah, good question indeed. Well, I'll go back to the first question before I get on to this exciting question that you have just asked. I think one of the key things that we need to know is that there are two obvious things in life, and that is either we are going to live long or we'll die. Mm-hmm. I think those are the two facts of life. And if we don't die too soon, we will live long. And the question is that do we have to plan for these certainties? I think that's a decision that one is going to make. So as we live during the period of our life, there are also some certain things that speak to the fulfillment of life. And I think my colleagues have really spoken well about those things. And life age, we change. Life is dynamic. Things change as we grow older on a daily and yearly basis. And let's also remember that at times goals do change. And that's where there's a need for a good financial planner to assist you walk through this journey of financial planning. It's very, very critical. We'll come back to that later. You asked another good question in terms of culture of saving. I was smiling when Christabel was talking. And I'm saying, when I look at it overall, I said, you know what? Everybody, everywhere is saving. Why do I say so? I read a good book from Stewart and Rutherford, which talks about the poor and their money. He says in the book that either we save towards or we save after. I want to send my child to school. I can save towards education. My granny in the village, she cannot save towards. But when the time comes for the grandchild to go to school, what does she do? She goes next door to borrow. When she borrows, she puts a plan to pay back. And Rutherford calls it saving downwards. So yes, a majority of us, we are saving upwards, towards. But also there's a greater majority which is saving after, which is saving downwards. So I would say generally 100% of the people are saving, but it is the structure of saving.
Webster, can I just come in for a second here? I think when we talk about savings, what exactly is savings?
Go ahead.
Is savings about you have money, so you save? I don't think so at all. Savings is actually giving up a current want to meet a want coming, which is going to come later on. So it's not that you already have money that you're putting aside as a saving. You are giving up something so that when a calling comes tomorrow, you're ready for that calling. That's what savings is about.
Agreed.
Yeah. I love the way you've put it, and it doesn't mean that someone who saves should earn or should make a lot of money. Wherever you are, whatever income that you have, you can start from there. And recently, I was reading the book "The Richest Man in Babylon," where it talks about saving minimum 10% of your income. As a critical component of it. The point we are driving home is that you don't have to generate a lot of income for you to start saving. You can start saving where you are. I think that's the point that we are putting across. Now, I know that many times, people will say, I'll start saving. There's this procrastination. I'll start saving next month. I'll start saving next year. Time keeps on going and going. And I think I was a victim of that until really I paid that particular attention to the solutions from insurance companies regarding savings or investing, as Mr. Swami puts it. Because what I tend to see is that the solutions from insurance companies tend to incorporate all the three elements or aspects which I cited in my introduction, which is saving, investing, and protection. So maybe let's zero in there. How unique are solutions from insurance companies as one of the options within the financial sector? What is the uniqueness of these solutions that we have from the insurance sector? Anyone can go.
Okay. Thanks, Webster. Let me go first, if that's okay with Godfrey and Madam Banda. I think the foremost value of insurance is about the lifetime risk cover. I mean, which other savings organization allows you to save for a lifetime? So you got to protect your life, the security part of it. That's the prime function risk area of insurance, to protect your life against a financial loss that will occur in case you happen to pass away, which is basically the death benefit part of it. Then there are, of course, what we call as life stage planning with insurance. You got to have living benefits too. So that's where you have your life stage benefit. There are products, probably we'll talk about it later, which provide you benefits when you are alive. Life insurance is all about long-term savings. It's all about investment. So there is always a question of the funds being invested over a period of time, which accumulate with some earnings over a period of time. Again, I will come to the issue of tax benefits. Majority of the countries in the world allow your premiums as a tax benefit. Unfortunately, in Zambia, we don't have that. But tax planning as a tax planning through life insurance is a major consideration worldwide. Then there are products which would help you with some loans if you want. There are products which give you some assured benefits like a retirement benefit. Maybe at a later period I'll talk, which I love about, is the benefits that come by way of riders. The riders provide some huge benefits, which again, unfortunately, we in Zambia are not very familiar with. There are riders which will provide you disability benefits. There are riders which will provide you with double the sum assured in case of an annual accidental death. There are riders which can provide you with critical provision of benefits if you happen to have a critical illness. So these are all some of the huge opportunities through life insurance for savings for you, and for, most importantly, protection, risk mitigation part of it. You're mute, Webster.
Christabel, would you like to add to that, Madam?
Webster, can I just come in? Okay. Are you on mute, Webster? Can I come in?
We can. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
I wanted just to add that I think the aspect of protection on these insurance products it's very critical. I think it's one of the key distinguishing features of saving using insurance products. There's a lag. Mr. Swami, can you hear me?
You're clear, Madam Christabel.
I can hear you clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You are very clear.
Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so maybe website is having challenges.
Yeah.
So I think website is having challenges. So I'll financial plan. If you are saving and there's no element of protection, you might find that in an unfortunate event that something happens to you. For example, if you are saving to meet your children's school fees, and if something happens to you, you will not be able to raise enough resources for you to be able to meet your goals. If you pass on, for example, or even if you become disabled. But when you're saving through insurance products, you find that the different products have got this protection element attached to the product, such that you will be able to still achieve your intended objectives. Even if you pass on, there will still be resources that will be allocated to achieve your intended objective. So that is one critical difference with saving using insurance products. I thought I should add that.
I like that. And sometimes we tend to think, or rather we try to ignore the death element. We anyway, in our society, we really don't want to talk about death. But like Godfrey said, it's just a matter of time. It is appointed for man to die once. So the question is, what are you doing, like, for your children in case something happens to you today? Do you have a plan that is going to see them through their education process and so on and so forth? I believe Godfrey would like to add to that.
Yeah, thank you, Webster. Just one point that I need to add. I think my colleagues have done justice again. I think one of the other critical things that we bring in as an industry is the aspect of discipline, combining goals and the discipline. Because I always say that if you have got goals, if you are planning or saving without goals, it's like you're taking a walk in the park. I think there has to be a combination of goals and discipline. That's the aspect we bring in, because we understand what you want to achieve. And then once we understand that, we give you a prescribed rate or way of saving towards that goal. We don't only do that, we also monitor to ensure that when that time comes, you certainly achieve that goal. I'm sure if you talk to some of the policyholders, they will tell you that, oh, insurance A, they wrote me a letter that I've got an arrear. But in real sense, is it an arrear? It is that discipline that we are putting in. Without that discipline, where you can put your money maybe in the nearest bank, at any time you can go on and punch the ATM and withdraw your kwacha. But we make sure that once you put in your money, we help you to achieve that goal. That is the discipline that you can get. We bring in that structured way of saving. We bring in the discipline. Whereas if you do it on your own, when thunder strikes, you are likely to rush to that ATM and take that money. So that's one of the critical or unique advantage that you enjoy through the industry. Thank you.
All right. I love the element of discipline. And I mean, when you align your long-term goals and then you try to discipline yourself by making those contributions, it could be monthly, quarterly, or depending on your arrangement that you have with an insurance company, at the end of the day, you'll be able to achieve your financial goals. And the fact that it's not like Godfrey said, it's not like an ATM where you can just go and withdraw. All right. So there's the element of process, which kinds of helps you achieve your ultimate goal of saving or investing. All right. So from our Facebook page, we have Andrew Sinyangwe watching, Kennedy Yamuwele following, Kasonde Francis following, Betty Muyambo following, Elias Malupenga has a question. I'll be able to take the questions shortly. Jenny is watching, Kelvin Chilufia Jaolan is following, Norach and Kalaluka. All right, has an interesting question. Matthew Harrison is also following with a question. I'll be able to address the questions. Then Clarify Sichikolo following from Lusaka. Michael James Kumwenda. Some are savings and some are for investments. Petula Chisompe is following. Alan Samuel Mwamulombe following from Lusaka. Punda Msonda following. Angela Mushipi following. William Zulu, you have a question. I'll read out the question. Teresa Mkabe following Maungake Bandamfula, following from Lusaka. Then I've another question from Matthew Harrison. All right, so those who are joining us, we are discussing financial planning through insurance, and we've got a panel of distinguished or accomplished professionals to help us discuss this topic. Please feel free to ask your question in the comment section on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. Then we'll be able to address those questions shortly. Now, let's look at the pooling of resources. So does the pooling of savings, investment, and protection funds stimulate economic growth? Okay, Madam Christabel, let me start with you. Does this stimulate economic growth? Why should we really pay attention, or why should stakeholders such as government pay attention to this aspect or to this area within the financial sector?
Thank you, Webster. That is a very, very important question in the sense that life insurance companies, and indeed just the insurance industry in general, is a big institutional investor in any economy. And so there is need for stakeholders, policymakers to really pay attention to the insurance industry. Let me just give you an example. For the Zambian market, for instance, in 2019, the industry had about 1 billion kwacha invested in different investment vehicles. That is just the life insurance industry. Because since we're discussing life, so let me just concentrate on that. The combined investments for all the life insurance companies was about 1 billion kwacha. That is not a small amount, and obviously the industry could even do better if the uptake of insurance is improved. So one of the key things is that because we pool these resources from the different policyholders, because you would find that somebody's saving or the premiums that are coming through are in small amounts, but the insurance companies are able to pool these resources and then invest in the economy. So we have investments in the stock market, we have investments in government bonds, in real estate, and in different instruments. We even have investments in corporate bonds for companies that are trying to raise money. Insurance companies are able to invest in that. So this the process of pooling these premiums is a critical benefit that the insurance industry brings to an economy. Unfortunately, the levels of insurance penetration in this country are low, and you can imagine the impacts that the industry would have if we were to increase the uptake of insurance. And not only from that perspective, even in terms of the standard of living for the individuals that are taking up these policies, because of the nature of the industry in terms of offering protection and savings and all these other benefits that we have, you find that even the standard of living is improved in a society that takes up a lot of insurance. So right now we are sitting at a penetration rate of less than 3% in this country. It's about 2.6%, which is quite low when you compare to countries like South Africa, for instance, where their penetration rate is sitting at around 13%. So if the uptake of insurance is improved, we will see these ripple effects in the Zambian economy. I know Mr. Swami spoke about tax incentives to help stimulate the growth of the industry. This is something that even as an insurance, the local insurance market, we have been making submissions to the relevant authorities to say we would like to see an increase in the exempt threshold when it comes to pension contributions, for example, to just help improve and also grow the private pension scheme. So really, I think there's a lot that the industry does in terms of helping the development of the economy. I think I'll end there for now.
All right. I like that. From the insurance perspective, I think is most of the students of insurance will tell you that when you go across Zimbabwe, uh, it's alleged or it's suggested that insurance funds built Zimbabwe. Now, with the kind of exposure that maybe Godfrey you have in the Zimbabwean market, what role has life funds played or contributed to the development of Zimbabwe? In the past,
I like that question, Webster. I think Madam Christabel has answered it quite well. Somebody said, I don't know whether it's true or false. Somebody said that development of a country is measured by the rate at which its citizens save. But I'm not quite sure to that. But certainly, I think in terms of what Madam Christabel said, in terms of infrastructural development, I think it plays a key role, especially as the government together with the private sector pool resources together and invest in infrastructural development. I think that's very, very key. But also looking beyond, what also I've learned is that on the social side, not saving is actually postponement of a challenge, because we know that without saving, sometime, someday in future, we'll be draining the fiscus of a country in terms of looking after the old and the dependent. So as we encourage society to save, as we encourage society to build that financial capital, I think it will also ease the pressure on the fiscus of any country in future. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Mr. Swami, would you like to add something?
Yeah, thanks. I think my two colleagues have very elaborately answered, and both of them have covered almost everything. If you could allow me to deviate a little from insurance funds to insurance industry, industry itself plays a huge role in the economy of the country, any country for that matter. It plays a big role in boosting the GDP of the country. It has. Let's not forget that one of the main criteria for determining the economic situation in a country is the level of unemployment. Insurance industry generates huge number of employment opportunities. It's not just the 160 employees, 170 employees in Prudential, or the 180 employees in Sunlam and 200 in ZIS. It's the number of agents to whom we have given entrepreneurial opportunities, which is in thousands. There are large number of agents who are extremely successful. Actually, I call them entrepreneurs. There are agents who do not want to do anything else other than just sell life insurance because they have taken it as a profession. So there is a huge economic activity around the insurance industry, apart from not just the generation of the funds. Yes, the generation of the funds have gone into that. I think they all spoke about the stock market. One more area where insurance funds play a huge role is in the real estate market. I think that's something which we need to take cognizance of. So I think industry per se is a major player in the economy.
Awesome. All right, let's get to the questions that are being floated on the platform. Let me begin with
just Webster.
All right. Yes.
I wanted just to add that just to put a number to the huge numbers that are employed in the sector. So by end of 2019, we were sitting at over 3,000 formally employed in the insurance companies, and then that does not even include the sales agents, like Mr. Swami rightfully put it. So if you add the different sales agents as well to those numbers, you will see that the industry is really a huge employer in this country, and the growth of the sector would really benefit the entire country. I think I just thought I should add that.
Okay. All right. So there's a conversation going on in the comment section that's comes from Matthew Harrison. Is it correct to refer to life insurance products as savings or rather as investments? I think Mr. Swami touched on this, but would you like to maybe explain again, Mr. Swami?
Yeah, thanks, Webster. I would personally consider life insurance as an investment and not just as a savings. It's a means of savings, but it's always long term. Life insurance is all about long term, planning for the long term, providing for the long term, making sure there's financial security, and making sure that you plan for various stages of your life. So it's always an investment and not necessarily a savings.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Swami. Nora Chanda Kalaluka says, do the insurance companies have deliberate solutions for unemployed Kantemba businesses? Do we have solutions? Godfrey?
Yes, yes, definitely. And I think if you really watch the way when you talk about financial inclusion, I think we are on certain. There is a roadmap. I think in terms of that, I think currently as an industry, I think one of the key things that we are looking at when you talk about microinsurance, we're not only talking about people who are formally employed. Earlier in the discussion, remember I spoke about a granny who is in the village who wants to send a grandchild to school. And yes, we are coming up with products. And definitely, I think just watching the future, I think we are really cracking our head. And there are good examples in Zambia. There are good examples outside Zambia. And definitely, yes, we do. Maybe my colleagues might want to support me.
Webster, can I come? Yes. Can I come in, Webster? Yeah, so just to support you, Godfrey, the issue of financial inclusion is key, and it's something that the industry has towards. The development of microinsurance is something that is quite topical. There is a coordinated approach to the development of microinsurance in this country. And there's a grouping called TAG, a Technical Advisory Group on Microinsurance, which is just focused on trying to see how to develop this important sector. Because obviously there is a realization that some of the products that we were traditionally offering as a sector were skewed towards people in the formal employment. And so if you are going to widen the basket or widen the insurance encashment, you have to look at people who are in the informal sector. And so there is need to ensure that this particular segment is also serviced. So the issue of the development of microinsurance in this country is quite key, it's quite topical, because you have more than 80% of the people in the informal sector. So if we are going to talk about increasing the insurance penetration, really we need to have products that are also encompassing the informal sector. So yes, there are products on the market, and there is a coordinated effort that the industry has undertaken to ensure that we develop the microinsurance sector in the country.
All right. Thank you, Madam Banda. Let me read a question from Willie Zulu, who says, what should come first for a saver? Planning through life assurance policies or building up reserves in a bank for at least a year and then investing? So I think we are beginning to wrap up, so we'll be very concise and brief in addressing the questions. Godfrey, would you like to jump on that?
Yes, Webster. Remember what I said. If you put money aside without a goal, you are taking a walk in the park. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like what the viewer or listener asked is that, should I start putting money aside or I should start? As long as what is fundamental, the first thing before you save, there's got to be a defined role, a defined goal. So if there is a defined goal, the how part of it is where we come in and assist you.
Awesome. All right, let me read out something from Michael James Kumwenda. Well, the returns are actually quite good. We'll show you some worked examples and you will be amazed that insurance returns beat banks. Okay, we are not really undermining, or we are not really attacking banks here. I mean, we complement banks. So it's just different products that we are offering. So in terms of investment, maybe let me add to this observation. Maybe we bring in the inflationary effects, as well as the rate of return on these investment policies or solutions from insurance companies. What's your take on this, Mr. Swami?
It all depends upon the type of products that we are able to bring in. Inflation does play a major role when it comes to any financial instrument. The value of money and the time value of money, if you look at it, it's basically to see if how well our investments are and how well we can generate returns on those investments. I think, as we know, insurance is being a very long-term planning instrument. There is an element of returns by way of the monies that you put in on a month-on-month basis or on an annual basis, which yields returns on those monies, and we generate them to protect you against inflation and pass it on by way of the profits that are generated. So there are, I think, 80 to 90% of the time the returns would be a little better than the inflation. But when there is runaway inflation, it's really difficult to track that. It's really difficult to match that. And runaway inflation, unfortunately, in some of the parts of the world where we come from, where we live, where we operate, there has been instances of runaway inflation, which, for example, is hampering all of us today in Zambia. It's happening in Zimbabwe. So, is it possible to match the inflation and keep ahead of it? What kind of investment opportunities do we have as insurance players with funds to invest? Are those returns good enough to beat the inflationary trends that we are seeing? The answer is yes, and probably the answer is a bit of no also. But yes, since it's a long period of time, in the short term, you may not beat inflation, but in the long term, over a period of time, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, the returns would generally beat inflation.
All right, I like that. Maybe as I invite maybe Godfrey or Christabel to chip in, maybe you can bring in the element of also exchange rate, of currency depreciation. I think this to what Matthew Harrison is asking. He's saying, what's the benefit of savings, in inverted commas, where inflation, forex fluctuations, etc., erode the present value of the savings? I think Mr. Swami touched on that, but any additions to that, as well as touching on forex?
I think maybe let me come in, Webster. I think the aspect of forex, I think if you are looking at these products in the short term, they might not be able to, for instance, even beat inflation. I think Mr. Swami alluded to that. You have to look at the long term, because most of these products are of a long-term nature. So you find that over the horizon of the policy, you will get those ups and downs, but when you do a trend, you generally find that the return will be good. Because even the issue of the exchange rate, for example, this is something that is happening in the short term. So when you are looking at the the products, the long-term nature of the products. We don't know what is going to happen maybe in the next 24 months. Maybe this the inflation rate, the exchange rate is going to stabilize or go back to the normal level. So you have to look at these products in a longer time horizon. I think that's what I can add to the issue.
All right, Godfrey, you have something to add?
That's fine. Fully in support with what Christabel has said. Yeah, I think
awesome.
it's a
right,
case of. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. Let me read out a few comments. I'm sure you'll pick one from what I've read out, Godfrey. Norman Michael says, loving this discussion. Going forward, let all life assurance companies come to one goal of meeting clients at the point of need when it comes to paying claims on time. This creates on the playing field. All right. I can't really, maybe you may want to rephrase that comment, Norman Michael. Then Matthews Malamamlenga is saying, why is it difficult for insurance graduates to find jobs in the insurance industry in Zambia? All right, so I expected this to come. So then the other question is, do we have individual medical insurance? Okay, you can touch that. Chinyemba Sovi is saying, why has the insurance maybe sector continued struggling to increase penetration over the years? What is the one that government together with the industry need to do to change this story? Or maybe he's trying to ask, what is the one thing that we need to do in order to change this story? So just hang on there. I want to see if I can read out as many questions as possible, then we wind up. George Marakera is saying, can the panelists touch on the sale of foreign denominated policies in the face of a weakening local currency? Julius Monza says, savings with an insurance company in Zambia is still poor, more sensitization to be done, which is the reason for this forum. Melky Mats is saying hi there. All right, let me read other comments from this slide. Tominzile Chimba saying very interesting topic. Then Clever. Okay, Clever. All right, maybe let's pick. Let's address these questions that have been raised, and then we will wind up.
Yeah,
random picking. Yeah, Godfrey.
Okay, maybe just to come in. I think Madam Christabel spoke about the current penetration ratio, which is at about 2.8% right now. I think as an industry, there are quite a lot of things that we are trying to do collectively. And I was going to thank you also for this platform, because I think to me it's a build up to the Insurance Week that is coming in the next few weeks. And that the intention of some of these initiatives is for us to educate the society. And it's also very critical for us to also touch base with the colleges so that students do learn the principles of insurance right from the beginning. It's those are some of the initiatives that we as an industry will continue doing and we will need to do. And let me also say that as the insurance penetration ratio increases, the possibility and probability of recruiting more and more graduates will also increase. So we are in this game together.
I love that. Mr. Swami, on the sale of forex denominated policies in the face of a weakening currency, what would be your comment on that?
Yeah,
I think I wanted to touch.
I would just ask George and request him to be a little patient and wait till the turn of the year. we are working on something, and if something we will try and I think probably there are two questions. One is about the forex, and the other was about the retail health products. Wait for some time. We'll see how the industry can come up with something really products which would meet the needs of these people.
All right. Christabel, you wanted to chip?
Okay, I can come in now, Webster. Godfrey spoke about what the industry is trying to do. There was a very interesting question in terms of what really is the problem. Why is the sector not growing? So one of the things that we have established as an industry in terms of why the sector is not growing is the aspect of the insurance, the levels of insurance knowledge in the country. There's a lot of misconceptions around insurance, and one of the key things, obviously, that we have to do as a sector is to try and disseminate the correct information. And we have an industry-led initiative called Insurance Week. I hope a lot of people will be able to catch something during that week. Godfrey spoke to it. So this week will be happening, I think, the week beginning 12th October this year. And the theme is creating a confident future with insurance. So there will be a lot of sensitization that will be happening across the country in this week, and we are hoping that that will also help create awareness around the importance of insurance. The other aspect, obviously, is creating we need a favorable regulatory framework for the sector to grow. So there has been initiatives also around ensuring that we push the enactment of the new Insurance Act. The act that we are currently using is a 1997 Act. And obviously, industry has changed, the world has changed, the economies have changed, and we can't possibly expect the sector to grow using a 1997 Act. So we have been pushing for the enactment of the new Insurance Act, and we are hoping that our policymakers will help us to ensure that that happens. I think we spoke about the issue of tax incentives. That is also something that is key. We need some encouragement for people to save. So we hope that the for the 2021 budget, we hope that some of those aspects will be taken care of. So this is something that we are aggressively following up as a sector. So we have not sat back seeing where the levels of penetration are. We are actively trying to do something to make sure that the uptake of insurance goes up. Why graduates cannot find jobs in the sector? I thought we have, because right now we have 31 insurance companies. We have more than 35 broking firms. We have more than 200 registered tied agents. I think Mr. Swami spoke about sales reps that can help sell insurance products. So I think it's also just a mindset change. If a permanent position doesn't come up, there are other things that a graduate can do to still push their career in the insurance industry. So we hope that the graduates will be able to take up this opportunity and apply themselves and contribute to the growth of the sector.
All right, this is all we could accommodate today. Maybe as a way of closing, let me just ask you to give your final remarks and some tips on how those who are following us can actually access these solutions from insurance companies,
Mr.
starting
Swami,
with
can you hear
Mr.
me?
Swami.
I think Webster.
Thanks, Webster. I think we are running out of time, so I won't go into the details of the products that they can. They can come to us through any of these medias. They can approach the 2,000 and our agents that we have. They can, if people are banking with our bank assurance partners, they can go through the banks for to take up the products. The websites are available, Facebook, LinkedIn. There are huge opportunities. The networking and distribution channels are there. And last, probably, is that they can always walk into the office, which we don't prefer because it's unnecessarily taxing for the clients to come to the office, pay for transport, etc. But there are digital ways of communicating with us. So the products are available. As a tip, I would want to probably say two things, which could sound a little bit different, and I do want it to be different and to be taken seriously and not lightly. I would want today's world, especially in Zambia, is all about the middle class, the upper middle class people, the millennials that we talk about. These are the people who are going to be the future of the country. I would want them to dream big. I would want them to aspire big. I would want them to plan to be a millionaire. I would want them to plan to be multimillionaires. And when I say that, I would want them to plan to be a multimillionaire through legitimate means, not through anything else. I think we work hard, we work smart, we want to be transformational, we want to be change agents. I think if we want to do all of that, I'm sure each of you would be able to be a millionaire. And what I would personally want to see from these people once again is that they should plan to be debt free. If they are debt free, they will be able to save. If they are able to save, they will be able to invest. If they are able to invest and save, they will be becoming millionaires. So, can we aspire to be millionaires? Can we aspire to lead a debt free life? That's my message to the people.
I love that. I would like to become a millionaire in dollars. And I'll follow your advice, Mr. All right, Madam Christabel. Madam Christabel, closing remarks?
Yeah, thank you. I think Mr. Swami has...
Godfrey, can you hear me?
You are very clear, Webster.
All right. All right, maybe you can give your closing remarks. Christabel will be back shortly. I think we seem to have some connectivity issue. How do you wrap it up? And what's your message to those who are following?
I have to thank you so much, Webster, for the platform. And I think to my two gurus, I think Swami, I think this has been very rich discussion. And I know my president has just disappeared. She'll be back. I think she has really contributed quite a lot of stuff. To our listeners and viewers out there, I want to say that our products, our solutions rather, are not cast in stone. We need to continuously engage and talk to you. There's need for us to continuously improve the solutions. I call them solutions because they are solutions to the problems of life. So don't hesitate. And right now, I think within the last hour, there are quite good ideas that we have extracted. And we will continue to listen. Talk to us, and we will continue to listen and improve the solutions. Thank you very much. It has been a great platform.
All right. So, Madam Banda, the only lady we have here is actually was recently elected as the president of the Insurers Association of Zambia. I think you should be the first female president, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a big congratulations. How do you wrap it up?
Unfortunately, we've taken long. I want to say we have 10 life insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
We have 10 life insurance companies dotted across the country, so people can access all the products that we've been talking about through all these 10 companies. We are doing everything that we can as a sector, obviously, to try and improve our positioning as an industry. So, yeah, I think it's been a very good discussion. Financial planning is key. Let us match our plans to the products that are on the market, not the other way around. So, yeah, thank you very much. It's been a good discussion, Webster.
Thank you, Webster.
All right.
Thank you, Webster. Thank you for having us.
It's been a great pleasure to be on this panel, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Webster. Thank you, and keep it going.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you so much. Those who are following us, we'll leave it there. And if you had any questions that you posed which we didn't address, assure that we are going to attend to those questions. This has been the online Presson Leadership Forum. We'll be back again in 2 weeks. We ask you to like our page, follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and if you haven't liked our Facebook page, please do like it and stay connected with us. We'll be happy to connect with you as we try to make planet Earth a better place than we found it. So this has been your host or moderator, Webster Twambo Jr., the chairperson of the Presson Foundation. It's all about pressing on. Thank you so much. And to the distinguished panelists, thank you for making time to be with us. We'll definitely call you again as we advance this agenda of raising awareness on insurance. So for now, press on and bye-bye.
Thank you.